begin to unlock, like what just happened there. We were talking about real estate. And then a transmission came through off the recording, and Glo said, can you talk about the miracle market? So it's like Glo just kind of reached up and got this book out of the cosmic library, and then we just opened it up. And so our languaging and how we interface together becomes very poetic. Everything starts to change. It's called poetic genetics. And these things just start coming out of our mouth when we relax and trust and let it come through. Babies don't speak goo goo gaga, they speak light language, and that's really what's coming through. And so as we begin to allow, like in the fictional fiction, we like to call it, people who are on the streets who let whatever come out of their mouth used to be called crazy. But as our heart chakras unlock, all of this information starts to come through our mouth, and we don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from our access to this cosmic library that is starting to source through our bodies as we become clear conduits. And everything in the cosmic library is informing us what steps to take, what direction to move in, what to do next. And as the cosmic Akasha opens up, the one thing we were just saying is that little transmission that just came through about real estate markets, banks, when we completed that little transmission, the hummingbird came into the garden, hovering behind the three of you filming and present here. The hummingbird was hovering and almost flew right into the sanctuary, right through the door and into the sanctuary space, and then buzzed off. And what we were explaining is that the way the hummingbird flew away, the energy of the bird was saying, I have to go tell my friends what's happening here. And this is how nature and the elementals come back to work with us again, because when we're aligned with our heart, yes, we can do prayers with the planetary body that people call the earth, and we can have our hands in the soil and all of those things. And simultaneously, as this new consciousness bursts through us, nature is paying attention. This is why nature gets the final say and the first say. And so what we are doing, what we are breathing, what we are focusing on, what we are creating in every moment is directing what people call life force. We call it our life power, in such a way that nature collaborates with us instantly when our hearts are aligned with unity. Nature comes in to support the way, and that's the opening of superabundance. True superabundance is when the elementals join us in the collaboration, in the co-creation, when the elements, the elementals, and nature comes into play. And the metaphor being shown is like Cinderella. In the story of Cinderella, when she gets invited to the ball, but she's locked upstairs in her room by her evil stepmother and her evil stepdaughters. She's locked up in the room, and she's been invited to this grand ball, and she says, I don't have any clothes to wear to this fancy ball. Nature comes in, the birds come in with things that they find, and the mice and all of the animals are bringing things into the room, and they create this magnificent dress for her to wear to the ball. That metaphor happens to me and to you as we allow this pure source consciousness, this new consciousness to come through. This is what unlocks borders, boundaries, taxes, passports, passes, tax ports. This is how it all unlocks, because nature comes through. And this is why in our own journey, sitting at round tables with financiers and very, very wealthy people on the planet, we would always say, you have to invite nature to your round table. If you don't, I promise you, you will be the loser. Because nature is finally here to say, I am aligning with those who have aligned with the purity of the heart. The Hopi carried a prophecy for us to understand the dynamics of this time. They said the red hats would come from the east, small in number, and they would bring us the teachings to unify our polarized mind back into neutrality, out of duality. And if we took the instructions, we would be able to neutralize our dualistic mind in time before the great shift would happen. After the great shift, they said our survival would be contingent on the quality of our heart. And this is why, as we're going through this transformation, we really begin to learn to listen from the heart, which is very different than listening from the mind. So one thing that I've noticed, and I'm learning in my partnerships and my relationships and friendships, is that in the roles that we were playing in a dualistic play, we all had our own characters, we all spoke our own language, we all came from different upbringings, different cultures, who all communicated in their own unique ways. And the attunement to the heart is like where we begin to drop out of our mind and our head, and we begin to make a connection with another where we recognize the purity of the connection. And we just allow the mind to dissolve, we allow our consciousness to descend out of our head and begin to really listen from the heart. And this is the transformation of all life on the planet and all relationships as well, because we came from these polarized, mentalized characters that we were playing that are constantly trying to figure it out through language. And one thing about the English language is it's very divisive. It's a polarized language. Here's our hummingbird friend. And so how do we begin to drop back into that listening from the heart again? Spaciousness, presence, kindness, compassion, less need to jump in and talk, more need to just sit back and process and be present together and say, okay, we've talked enough here. Let's just process this. Let's just take a moment, come back together, and move forward only together. So that's what's beginning to come in, and then this magic, the miraculous of nature is beginning to reveal something the mind cannot comprehend.